in chapter 31, which is the last chapter, the course, the final vision. We're on section 3, the self-accused, just about to begin it. It's page 651 in the second edition. And Jean, would you start the first paragraph for us?
Okay. Only the self-accused condemn. As you prepare to make a choice that will result in different outcomes, there is first one thing that must be overlearned. It must become a habit of response so typical of everything you do that it becomes your first response to all temptation and to every situation that occurs. Learn this and learn it well, for it is here delay of happiness is shortened by a span of time you cannot realize. You never hate your brother for his sins, but only for your own. Whatever form his sins appear to take, it but obscures the fact that you believe them to be yours, and therefore meriting a just attack.
Now, isn't that a perfect wrap-up for why we want to forgive? Huh? And why it's really ourselves we're releasing, even though we're releasing everyone from that idea of guilt, but it's ourselves. We wouldn't even think to get angry unless we thought we were guilty of that crime. And we're not. We're not any more guilty than they are. And what it is the forms can be different. It's the idea behind it. That's why we cannot see that I'm angry for something I do, because the form of you doing it is different than the form I do it, but it's basically the same idea of guilt. And that's what we have.
Like when everybody was on Clinton's case for his misdeeds, is that like a similar thing was going off in us? Or
why that was such a power-packed moment is the whole world has sexual guilt. Oh. And they condemn themselves, so they condemn and judge others. Because the reason is because it seems to imply we're just a body. I mean, it means I'm just a body. I'm not a spiritual being. So it's a part of our guilt, our separation guilt. We don't need to be guilty because we're not a body. Just because we act like a body doesn't make us a body. But we're thinking because we act like a body, then we must be a body. And that's why there's those certain spiritualities that are trying to deny that and say, well, the only way you're not going to be a body is if you stop acting like one. Well, that's trying to deny this illusion. And when you fight against an illusion, you're making it real. But it's the world's guilt. And we've been taught to feel guilty, so that's why they all went after him, like, because they're going after themselves. That's the self-accused.
Okay. So they're okay.
So anytime anyone's going after you, you want to remember, they're going after themselves, they're not going after you. And when you're going after somebody, I'm going after me, it's not myself. So don't let me get confused and think it's you, and then not get healed. Because see, if I'm focusing that it's you, I'm not healing my mind of my self-accusing thoughts.
It all comes back to that chapter 1 about projection.
Yes. This is what projection is, and psychology even understands projection. It's just sometimes very difficult when you're the projector to see that you're projecting. It just looks so real. Now, I can see when people are projecting on me a lot easier than when I'm projecting, right? Because you have a better sense of what someone else is doing, but we hide it from ourselves. So one other thing that I'd like in here, it must become a habit of response. So this whole course is training us to be habitual forgivers rather than habitual judgers. So we're going from this habit of judging, it's just automatic reflex. Well, my problem is you, oh, I gotta attack this, gotta attack that, to habit of no. Immediately when you feel any distress, you go to the forgiving perspective, because that's where we get happiness. He says your delay of happiness will be, this is where you're going to shorten it by a span of time you cannot realize.
You know what really surprised me when I was first getting on a spiritual path is that God wants me to be happy. It's like spirituality didn't seem to be about happiness, it seemed to be about becoming a better person.
Yes.
You know? And I'll have to sacrifice to do that. It's going to be hard.
And I'm willing to, because I think it's good to be a better person.
And I don't want to go to hell.
And I don't want to be a bad person. But I know it's true. Happiness, oh, isn't that nice? So this is our road to happiness. And it's forgiveness. Because how are we going to be happy if we keep accusing ourselves and attacking ourselves? We can't. That's what the whole course is saying. And you think you're safe only because you think your brother's different than you, so you can attack them without attacking yourself. And how many times did he tell us, Don't be deceived by that idea.